So if you saw the Facing Cancer and Uncertainty video, number 1, this is part 2, basically. And if you didn't see Facing Cancer number 1, I suggest you go to facebook.com/Angie Sullins. That's my personal page, and it's posted there. Watch it. It's 15 minutes. It's full. Where it ends is about my mission. It's about what I'm going to speak to you about right now, which has to do with something that has been a long, slow burn for me. It's been a long passion for me, but it's been on the slow burn for 2 decades, which is about women's empowerment and helping them discover their authenticity, their original voice, their sovereignty, their personal sovereignty, which begins by asking the question, who were you before the world told you who you should be? And the reason why I find this is so, it's important for everyone, let's be honest, and let me say right now that I love men, that I'm so glad they're on the planet, and I'm so glad I have both a feminine and a masculine portion to my psyche. But in particular, women need this message at this time, because we are attempting to midwife a huge change on this planet. And we can't midwife the huge change on this planet if we don't midwife the change in ourselves. I'm building a coalition of women, and I will be sending an invite to you from my newsletter, asking you if you'd like to participate and how you'd like to participate, because there will be several exciting options, some of which will take you to England and Scotland, and some of which you can do right there from the privacy of your own home. But so if you aren't signed up there, sign up there, because those invitations are going to start going out in the middle of the month. AngieSullins.com, newsletter's right on the front page. Sign up there. Okay, now, women and their value. Someone in our tribe recently shared a memory with me about being in the room while her father was discussing a woman's worth. And the statement was made that women are worth less than an insect. Now, that might sound shocking at this moment, but if you think back to the messages that you heard growing up, oh, you throw like a girl. Oh, you're so weak, you're acting like a pussy, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many more. And we're going to share these stories. I'm going to be sending out a questionnaire to you. I'm going to be asking you for your stories, how you were treated as a woman, and how the language around your value was communicated to you in these kinds of ways. But she said she was little when this happened, and she said that she walked away from that. I think it was a discussion going on in her living room. She walked away thinking, oh, I'm less than an insect. What does that mean for me? And that idea that we have been programmed with messages about to mind our place, where a woman belongs. You don't have to be 50 to have experienced that kind of question and that kind of reference. So where do these messages land in our psyche, and then how do they become a part of our psyche, what we now think is our belief, what we now think is our value? And so therefore that leads to all kinds of issues, right? Like not knowing our worth, not knowing where we belong, not knowing our value, not knowing our sovereignty, not having good boundaries, taking jobs we're not interested in, saying yes when we mean no, getting into bad bargains, getting into bad relationships, settling for less instead of settling for more, because we can always settle for more. So this ties in with several nights later after I heard that story. I was in trance. I do deep meditations, and not always the kind of meditation where you're trying to empty your mind, but where I'm specifically going into a trance zone, usually to music, and journeying shamanically for messages. And I was in that space, and I saw a woman, and I saw her open up a literal physical space in her body for a child, and realized that there was no way that our planet could be here today if a woman wasn't willing to open up her own body and share that body for 9 months with this creature. This creature she has no guarantees of seeing birth alive or seeing grow up into a marvelous person. She has no guarantee that she'll survive it. So she's opening up a doorway in her body for me, for you, for us. And then she's willing to face death to get you successfully onto this planet. To get Republicans, Democrats, gays, trans, politicians, leaders, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Someone opened up a door. Some woman opened up a door in her body so that every single human on this planet could pass through. And part of that, generation after generation after generation, is facing death. So our mothers, legions of women, are facing death every day to bring a new life onto this planet. Just let that sink in. To have life, face death. Completely different reality for men. This is a huge cost and a huge sacrifice. And then we look at those beings who were willing to make that kind of sacrifice and who've granted us the privilege of being here, who've allowed us safe passage through their bodies, then a certain kind of safe passage in the home, making sure that we ate, making sure that our teeth were brushed, making sure there was a roof over our head. And then, at least the majority, not all of them, but the majority of mothers, all the rest of your life, my life, our lives, a mother is defined by her willingness to face death for her children. That she's making a space at great expense to herself. I don't know one woman who's a mother who would not give her life if her child was in danger. Just think about that. And then to those beings, we're going to look at them and say, you're not enough. You should be fixed. You should be prettier. You should be pleasing. You should be productive. You should be all of those things at once. You need to be better here. You need to be better there. And then we're going to open up new opportunities for you, but we're going to make sure you're paid 80 cents on the dollar for what we pay men. We are going to give you less opportunities than men. We are going to consider you a second-class citizen. Maybe maybe this country, and not all of them, have come further than an insect, which we are dealing with multiple cultures who still consider women on that level. We're going to grow you up on stories of shame. We're going to tell you that you are responsible for original sin, that you are the temptress, that you wanted knowledge, you wanted wisdom. And what did you do? You created a downfall for all of us. So you're cursed, you're less than, you deserve to suffer. This is what we're going to tell the people who give us safe passage? What a crock of shit. And what a kick in the teeth for these kinds of messages, whether they be origin stories or whether they be the stories that we see on ads on social media about how we should look, act, think, please, produce, smile. How about all the teeth whiteners that just want us to have a more beautiful smile because then we'll be more attractive to a mate? I'm calling total and complete bullshit on that. But I'm not going to war with the stories or the manufacturers or the entities that seek to have profit from us not knowing our worth. I can't control them. You can't control them. We can't control what's happening out there, but we can control what's happening in here. And somewhere along the way, our messages that were coming from the outside began to be internalized. And now we are walking around questioning our value. We who are of the lineage of the Waymakers. We who own the bodies that are the most miraculous creative entities on the planet, that we can carry life and give it safe passage. Honey, your place is everywhere, and you are worth everything. And this is the message that I want to bring to you and help you take off the layers of the messages that are going on in here that have you buying into your disempowerment and have you buying into a lack of boundaries, have you buying into giving yourself away piece by piece because somehow you don't deserve. You're not deserving, just as you are. When you are the Waymaker, when you are the birther. And it's time for us as Waymakers to make the way for ourselves and our girls going forward, which also helps heal our ancestors who came before us. It's time for us to become the Waymakers that our bodies even declare that we are. And the only way that we can take that place and come to discover and own our personal sovereignty and know our worth and stop parceling ourselves off and pillaging ourselves off for somebody's approval, somebody's happiness, somebody else's comfort. The only way that we can do that is to own, is to discover what's going on in here that is the entrapment, that is the paralysis of action, that is a lie, a deception, that you don't have value when you're the Waymaker for all of life. It's time to make a way out of that trap. And this is what my health crisis is birthing, is this work that I've been doing for 20 years is about to coalesce into something that's going to explode. And for me to say that I hope you'll join me is a teeny tiny expression of something that I feel in my heart as a huge tidal wave that you are a part of. We can make a change. We can help midwife the change that's already happening on the planet. And it starts right here, right here. You, me, telling our stories, sharing the damaging stories that we were force-fed, and telling the new story, which is what I hope to share with you in the coming weeks. Make sure you're signed up on angiesullins.com for the newsletter because I'm going to be sending these invitations out, and I so hope you're with me. We're going to make the way.